Hey guys, Christopher Adams here. Today's video is going to be, what does it take to become a junior developer? Okay, so from a higher level, a broader scope, I'm going to try not just say web-based stuff, because I am a web-based developer, but I do plan on getting into mobile development as well pretty soon. So based on that, what do I think you need to know to become a junior developer or be considered a junior developer? I would say you need a decent knowledge of a programming language. Doesn't matter what it is. I'm a huge advocate of JavaScript because that is in 2018 the world's most popular programming language. You can do front-end development on the web with it. You can do server-side development. You can do mobile. You can do games. You can touch on pretty much every single area using JavaScript. So that's very powerful, high demand for jobs. And if you know JavaScript, employers will look at you a little differently, in my opinion. I think they'll look at you like, okay, he knows JavaScript. Some people view it as not an easy language to learn, actually. I've been told if you can learn JavaScript, you can learn jQuery really easily, because there's jobs where I was like, oh, I just know vanilla JavaScript, and I knew it pretty well. They're like, well, you can pick up jQuery in like just a few minutes for the most part. All right, so a programming language of your choice. There's Java, there's Kotlin, which is pretty sweet. If you want to go the Java route these days, maybe you should just dive into Kotlin, although the resources aren't as available as they are for Java, because Kotlin is a new language. So Java, Kotlin, JavaScript, Python, PHP, Ruby, this tons of languages, really. The choice is yours. C#. So learn a programming language. Learn it to a decent degree. You want to know if-else statements. You want to know conditionals. You want to know how to make functions. You want to know how to make classes. You want to know what object-oriented programming is. You want to know how to structure your code. You want to know what a constant is. You want to know what a variable is. So you would want to know what the difference is between those. The reason I'm telling you all of these things is because you would want to be able to demonstrate these to a potential employer, possibly even during the interview process. They may give you a technical assessment that will assess you on your ability to do these things. A very common thing I hear is they would ask people to write a for loop, and that trips up a lot of people. That was something I feel like I learned the first week of programming and I got down, but that trips up people that some even call themselves senior developers. Some of them don't even know how to write a for loop in a particular language that they're applying at a job for, right? So you want to get that down. That's junior level stuff right there. That's before junior level stuff. Okay, so programming language, like I said, you want to learn it to an intermediate level. You want to feel fairly comfortable with it overall. So build some projects and get the programming language under your belt. It's huge. It really will help. So programming languages aside, what else should you learn? Well, whatever platform you're building for, whether it's web, iOS, Android, whatever, what have you, you want to know how to at least build a basic UI. Doesn't have to be pretty, especially if you're not applying to be a designer. But you want to build a basic UI, so that way you can have a user interact with your backend, right? With your server-side code. So basic UI, you would want to know how to transfer the data from the front end to the back end, whatever platform you're on. And then mostly you want to get some back-end knowledge down. So use your programming language of choice to be able to interact with a database and perform some CRUD operations, which is create, read, update, and delete, right? So those are the operations that you need to perform on a database with your intermediate level programming language of choice. So that, and also it wouldn't hurt to know something like MVC, which is Model View Controller, which is separation of concerns, how to separate your code into areas that are that concern it, basically. So you don't really want to intermingle your view logic with your business logic, with your database stuff. You don't want all of that jumbled in one file and make it like the wild, wild west of coding. Make it spaghetti code city. You don't want to do that. While that is a junior level type thing to do, you want to try and go in. You want to go in and apply to a job after you've already kind of gotten through some issues like that. Like, it's okay if you still do that a little bit. They'll most likely tell you not to at the job and give you better ways of going about it, and showing you better ways of going about it. And like, hey, let me show you how to do it. In the future, you can do it this way. So when you're applying as a junior, they expect you to be junior. They don't expect you to write code like a Leonardo da Vinci of programming. They don't. So intermediate programming language knowledge. Just one. You don't have to dabble in a trillion. It's all right. You can, if you have that kind of time. I know several languages myself, not like to a superior degree or anything, but and I'm a junior still. You know, maybe build in a little small app or two. Try and make it something unique. Employers constantly see quintessential apps like tic-tac-toe, like maybe calculator of some sort. Maybe there's just a lot of to-do lists. Maybe there's just a lot of apps that people see over and over and over and over and over again. And while that's great to do on your own and learn how to perform and do different things, you would want to build something that's maybe a little bit unique, maybe, or at least something that you feel like you like working on and you could possibly use, or maybe your friends or family could possibly use. That's one idea. Another idea is to ask your family members or ask your friends if they need a website for something. And oftentimes than not, if they find out that you're coding, they'll reach out to you before you get a chance to reach out to them. But if they do, build it for them. Build it for them for free or for very cheap, like let's say $100 or something. And that will give you real world experience with actually working with someone, how to complete a goal, how to complete an app for a client. You can use that app, you know, ask them permission, say, hey, is it all right if I show this to potential employers? They should say yes. I mean, if they say no, then I don't know, find some new family. No, I'm just kidding. But show your employer the app that you built for someone. Say, I actually built this for a client. You could say that, or you could say, I actually built this for a family member who could use it for their business or for their ex. X being whatever you want to fill that in with. It's great. That shows the employer, hey, this guy or this woman can actually work with other people to get something done. That's huge. You don't need a degree to do that, by the way. Degrees are excellent. It can help you. But you definitely don't need a degree to land any kind of job. It's not like really difficult to land a job without a degree. All right. So let's get into the next point of junior developer. So let me recap on that. You want an intermediate level knowledge of a programming language to where you feel fairly comfortable. You don't need to know every single concept of the programming language. It's just not going to happen. Okay? You want to feel comfortable with the basics. Stuff that is transferable between all programming languages. In case they ask you, hey, we know you know JavaScript really well and that's your only language, but for this job, we want you to know some PHP. You want to say, oh, well, I know how to write if-else statements. I know how to write functions. I know how to write loops. I know how to write classes. I know how to write et cetera, right? And you just transfer all that same knowledge to a different language. Just learn their syntax. It's the same stuff, though. They might have a couple gotchas between languages, like, oh, this language does it this way, and this language does it this way, when, you know, but that's what you want to do. So that's for that. You want to know how to structure code fairly decently so it's not sloppy, so you're not mingling your views with your database operations. Code-wise, that's what you want. You want to know maybe SQL, MySQL. You want to know how to work with databases. It could be NoSQL, so stuff like MongoDB with NoSQL, or you could do, which means not only SQL, so it's SQL and more. So it's not like saying, no SQL, we're against SQL. That, or you would want to learn something that's far more popular these days, is SQL with, MySQL would be a good pairing. It definitely would not hurt you. So you want to know some basic database stuff, some basic, feel comfortable with the programming language. You want to know how to build out some basic views, and you want to build an app or two to demonstrate to the employers that you know how to work with all of them together, like the views, the programming language, the database operations, structuring your code in a clean way so it's not mingled all up together, right? You want to show this to your employers, your future employers. That's gold right there. That's gold advice. All right, so you've gotten some basic technical knowledge under your belt as a potential junior developer, right? What's next? What do you need to do? Just knowing those skills isn't enough to get you a job. I'll tell you that right now. It's definitely not. You have to have other qualities in order to get a job, right? You have to go through the interview process. You have to know during the interview process to make eye contact. Don't look away, don't look down and be like, oh, I've been coding for 6 months now. And no, you want to look them in the eye. You want to look like you're a trustworthy individual. And you want to say, yes, I've learned this programming language and I feel fairly comfortable with it. I know how to interact with databases. I know how to structure code in as clean of a way as I possibly can with my current knowledge. I built this app for my family member. It really helped them out with their business. It doesn't really have to help them out with their business. I'm just saying, like, I'm giving you an example. Like, you could say I built this app for a family member for their business, and they really appreciate it. They don't have any problems with it. They said I did a really good job, and they're happy with it. Stuff like that really goes a long way, right? But how do you get that interview? This is the huge part. I feel it's really important. It's really, really important. You want to network. That's what you want to do. So you want to get out there. You want to go to meetups. I know some areas of the country. I'm in the United States of America. I am in Tampa, Florida area, so St. Pete, Florida to be more specific. We have quite a few meetups around here. So go to meetup.com or something of the likes of it and find coding related meetups. Find a JavaScript meetup. Find a Java meetup. Find a Python meetup. Find open code where people go and they code around each other. It may not actually be called open code, but it could be called like Coders Meet or something. You want to meet other coders. You want to become friends with other coders. You want to find a potential mentor. So if you're one of those people that don't go out to meet people or don't like to go out to meet people, it may be a little more difficult for you to get your first job, but it's a really important skill to have. Networking is huge for any career path. Huge. So huge that a lot of my coding friends and mentors, even my current engineering manager, I met at meetups. I met almost all of them at meetups, right? And the reason, I feel like a huge reason why I landed my first ever developer job is because of meetups. And guess what? I feel like a huge reason why I landed my second developer job is because of meetups. Why are meetups so huge? Why is going out and talking to people and just intermingling with people huge for any career path? Well, the reason is because those people know other people, right? So if they know that you're looking for a job and they're cool with you, they're going to say, hey, well, this guy I know over here, he's hiring at his company, or this, and they're like, you should apply. They'll put in a good word for you. Happens all the time. I've done it for people. I've had people do it for me. And it all comes from networking. Really, it does. You have to have the skill, which was in the first part of this video, but that paired with networking, paired with doing half decent during the interview process is huge. Very, very huge. And I believe if you do a combination of these things, you can land your first job as a junior developer. 100%. If you follow my advice from this video, 100%. There's no doubt about it. But I should say additionally, while you're going through the job seeking process, every single day, don't let a day pass where you don't learn at least one minor new thing in coding, right? You want to learn at least one little concept. Doesn't matter what it is. If you're learning JavaScript, if you learn the difference between const and let, and that's it for the day, and you know the difference, hey, you've learned a new thing for the day. You've become better. So the next day you're better than the day before. That's huge. So if you're constantly learning new things, if you are out there networking, if you have a little project or two little projects that you've built, preferably for someone else, so that you could show that and demonstrate that during the interview process. If you can go into an interview and make eye contact and conduct yourself well, speak well, or at least try to speak well. Just be human, just look at them in the face and try and be human for the most part. Don't look too nervous. Everyone's nervous during an interview, but try not to look too nervous. Get there extra early to calm your nerves before you go into the building. Walk around, say, I can do this, and then go into the building. Then you're good. Okay, and I also feel there is one other component to this that you should have to a decent degree. And that is, you would want to craft a fairly decent looking resume. You'd want to keep it to one page. Employers don't want to have to print out multiple pages and sift through multiple pages. You want to keep it to one page. You want to possibly have a cover letter on it that is catered to the job that you're applying for. So every single company, you want to cater it to that company. I hear that goes a long way, but it's not necessary. You can just do a one-page resume, but make it concise. Make it packed with information that's relative to coding, if you can. The jobs that you put on there, they don't have to be coding related, but you can, if you build a website for a family member or friend, you could put you did freelance. Honestly, you could put that you did freelance for yourself for X amount of months, and that would look good as your last job. Put that on there, right? But then before that, if you worked at a restaurant, you worked at a shoe store, you worked at as a waitress or whatever, you can put that on there. It looks good. I mean, you worked with other people. That's not going to hurt you. That's not necessarily going to be irrelevant. So I think I'll make a different video on how to go about crafting a decent looking resume. I had very good success with my resume. I'm not like a master guru at making resumes, but I will say I think I've only applied to 3 development jobs in my entire life. And 2 of those jobs I landed interviews for and I got. So I'm trying to give you real advice here. So I think I'll make a different video on how to go about crafting a resume, what I consider to be a decent resume, things you want to leave off of your resume, things that you want to put onto your resume in the future. So thank you guys for joining me for this video. If you have any comments, please leave them below. I'll be happy to answer. In all honesty, seriously, I'll answer them. Subscribe, like my video, and I'll be coming out with some more videos in the future. I hope you guys and gals have gained something from this video. I was honestly trying to share my genuine knowledge with you all. And I'll see you guys later.